All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us again tonight as we continue with the 2026 Montana Armbender series. Tonight is the last episode, as this will mark all 15 matches on the card. And this is a matchup between Robert Petley and Tyler Weaver. And this is going to be a best of five left-handed match. Um, Now, this match is also, I want to say, sponsored by Johnson Madison Lumber. So big thank you to Joel and Holly over there for bringing a awesome matchup like this with two powerhouses, on the table. This might be the highest horsepower match. Also, here tonight with us is, of course, the promoter, Joshua Wilson. So yeah, just starting off the bat, Robert, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been arm wrestling? We know you're from Great Falls, but if you could tell us also why you wanted to take this match and what you think about Tyler.
Well, I've been arm wrestling off and on for quite a while. I'm getting pretty old. I used to arm wrestle out of Arizona and used to travel around with my buddy Dale Eliason to California and all the western states. We used to have a great time, and then it kind of conflicted with work, so I quit for a long time. And then my buddy here, Josh, calls me up, and now I'm back at it again for what? How many years?
5 now,
Was it
probably
five?
pretty consistently for 5.
But like you said, the one time I was kind of just doing it as kind of a side thing, not really into it. And now I've just decided I needed to start getting into it more because it's actually been helping out my health, which is, 3 blood pressure medicines. Now
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it down, and it's helping out a bunch for this. I'm losing some weight and I'm feeling good.
He's
So
been training hard a couple times a week with me for the last few months.
That's
yeah,
good.
I hope I have it together for Tyler Weaver. These young guys are just meat eaters and strong. Just
Yeah. And
arm wrestling is just, from what I used to do, it is just has been leaps and bounds way better now than it used to. And everybody's so technical. I'm just grab and go, but these guys now are so technical. It's just amazing. It's great. Great to see.
Yeah, it really is. And it's really awesome to hear that you've been training a lot and consistently, because I think, and I'm sure Josh would agree, that in this match, one thing you're definitely going to need is a little bit of staying power, because something that we've seen from Tyler Weaver is he's going to put it all on the line and he's going to hang in there for as long as he can. I mean, I think it's almost guaranteed 100% that you're going to take his hand. But Tyler doesn't care about having his hand. He'll just keep going sideways without it. So, Josh, kind of like I alluded to before, I think this might be one of the highest horsepower matches on the card. What are your kind of thoughts when you put this match together? Where's your head at now?
yeah, we've talked about it a lot. So I've seen Weaver and Petley have some bangers at practice, and it's just fun for all of us to watch. So I was like, man, we got to put these guys on the stage because they're just big, two muscle-filled guys, and they go hard. They're both just pound you into the ground type of mentality. And the way I see the match going is Weaver's got a lot of power, as we've seen. Like, he got a pin on the Destroyer at a tournament. Chuck wasn't sure what he was going to do, and he flopped him, and then Chuck adjusted later and got that win back. But it was still an impressive feat by Tyler, for being so new to the sport. And he's been able to hang with a lot of super strong people just because he's so powerful. He's been a power lifter his whole life. So, Petley and I have been working. I mean, Tyler knows what he needs to do. And Petley, I mean, if Tyler gets behind his arm and his shoulder right here, Petley's in trouble. So Petley needs to take the hand, and before Tyler starts turning into that press, he needs to make sure he's going that way. Because if Tyler, that, Andrew, if Tyler gets here, man, he's going to be hard for Petley to stop. So it's all about Petley taking that match to his side before Tyler gets his shoulder turned in.
Like you said, if
Absolutely.
I don't get my first move, it's going to be a battle.
Yep. Petley said something really cool last night. He's like, I love Tyler. I love that guy. I want to see him win, but I have to win this match. And I'm that way too. They're both my buddies, and I want to see them both do well. So I'll be happy for either of them to win, but they've both been training hard, and it's just going to be who wants it more on the table, I know
Yeah,
they've both put in the work.
I
After
think
last year,
so.
I'm done. You losing sucks.
It
It's
does.
terrible.
Yeah. Especially on a big
Nathan walked
stage with a
away with
lot of
all his
people
money.
watching. Yeah.
That's what he's
I'm
like.
telling you,
Nathan left with all my money.
he's another one of those meat eaters. And I know, I can guarantee he's been training hard.
Yeah.
And you guys, I think everybody's kind of predicted Miles, but after arm wrestling him, I'm going for him all the way.
There's a prediction right there.
You
We're
know,
gonna go through some, but yeah,
Yeah.
you said Nathan's hand felt pretty.
yeah, crazy. He had my number. I mean, I really wasn't feeling good last year and didn't do much training, but he whooped me. So
Yeah.
he
Nathan's
might
very
even left
dedicated.
he might have even left a little mark in my arm. I could still feel.
But yeah,
Yeah,
some of those epic matches, you definitely they stay with you for a long time, if not forever. I got a little
yeah,
knot up in the top left of my left arm just from a really hard fought match a couple years ago. So I totally understand how that's gonna go. But yeah, no, one thing that I really look at in this match too, because again, kind of like what you said earlier, you like to just kind of like grab on and go. But I think a little bit of technicality in this match will be important for both of you guys to show that you're growing because the power might be pretty close. So that's why I think if someone pulls the technical edge out of the bag, that could give them what they need in order to get the win. And one of the things I'm going to
right.
be looking at very closely in this match is to see if both of you guys just try to hold on to each other for dear life, or if someone's willing to slip and let go. Because I think that could be a big difference maker, especially if a press gets involved in there, because holding on is exactly what a presser wants you to do. So
Yeah.
have you thought about that at all, or practice slipping, or
I don't know if I've ever seen you slip. Have you ever been in the strap?
I
You ever
have
been in
on
the
that with Clint. I just let it go
Yeah,
because
but
I knew it was
I don't know that you've been in the straps. Have you?
uh
I don't know. I don't think he's ever been in the straps at the arm bender. If he has, I sure don't remember. He's kind of like he usually holds on with guys. He hardly
Yeah.
ever goes to the strap.
Sometimes people try to slip out on me, and then I try to just grab their fingers and hammer straight down, So because I'm usually I hate it. I'm all usually on the winning end, and they slip out on me. And to me, that's a loss. But I don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally understand that because I think that's kind of like my nature too. Like I train my hand a lot and I like, where my move is. I usually don't need to get to the strap unless someone can just go backwards super fast, kind of like what I just had to deal with Levi last weekend. You definitely don't want to hold on if you don't, or if you can't help it, because then they're just going to take you for a ride. But, just again looking at things, I really think that seeing one of you guys kind of show that little bit of a difference of versatility could make the match, because actually where you guys want to go, you guys go through different angles, but it's mostly a side pressure dominated move. You're more hand dominant, and Tyler's coming in through the arm. He pushes through the wrist more. And but what I think it's interesting when I look at it from an analysis standpoint, like if I was approaching the match against either of you guys, I'd approach it the same way. I'd grip really low. I'd grab you kind of almost by the wrist and try to stop your hand, and stop Tyler from flopping and going under, and two, stop you from using your super strong clamp to try to control me. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I also think that makes the match really exciting, because especially in the first round, when you guys are both all, like fired up and have all the adrenaline going, I think you're just going to explode sideways right into each other. And I think, honestly, I think you guys are going to slip without, like, you're not even going to have a choice. I think you're just going to slip from the pressure. So
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying something a little bit different this time. Everybody's talking about how I gas, and I might have realized why I'm doing that, and I'm hoping to change that. So I have a little more in the tank. I'm doing that, and I'm actually hoping Tyler has to lose some weight at the last minute. There's all of that stuff.
It's coming up fast, man.
yeah,
9
it is.
days. It's gonna happen.
I
It's
know it's
exciting.
crazy to see that like I felt like I just started all these interviews
I know.
not too long ago, and now they're already here.
You think
So
these go fast? Wait for the arm bender, dude. It's like that card's gonna be done. Like everybody's gonna get a flash, it's gonna feel like, and their match is over.
yeah,
I gotta remind guys that, capture that moment because it happens quick.
I know I was checking the weather today, and the forecast out for that, it's going to be like you can't trust the weather this far out, but it's actually not bad, 40 degrees,
Great.
so
Last year we had that storm.
right.
Ethan Dan almost didn't make it.
I don't
I was
care how
panicking.
cold it
Wood
is.
was
as long as it's not a blizzard, I don't care how cold it
Right.
is. Like,
So they get
Yeah.
fly in, everybody's safe.
Cody's worried about the weather. But
Yeah,
it's like
that poor
summer
guy.
here compared to what it normally is.
Today
Usually,
it's 69
yeah,
degrees.
usually
Yeah.
negative 30 up here, you know.
I
right
was out in
now.
the, I had the garage door open and I was just doing some workout in the garage, just enjoying the weather. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's been
it was nice today. But,
Right.
you know, one thing I wanted to ask you too, since you've been a part of the armbender for so long, Robert, is that, you know, as you've seen the armbender kind of change and grow over the years, you know, I kind of wanted to just get your perspective on that. Like, just like when it first started, did you ever think that it was gonna, you know, turn into like what it is today? And on it, well, we don't even know like all the cool stuff Josh has planned, you know, for this one, or changes or improvements he's made
Right.
yet. But even just like last year, I feel like last year stamped the armbender as a like premier promotion, because the, you know, the video quality was just completely pristine, had some of the best audio, like super clear all throughout. You heard everything you wanted to hear, like, and it was just like, you know, it was a super professionally well done event, and lots of exciting, you know, names on the card. And, you know, like I said, just like, what's it been like to be a part of it? And like, did you imagine it getting to this level where it is now?
It all started in his garage. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't know that a lot of people know that, but we threw the first little mini armbender in his garage. 20 something people showed up. We didn't even know who half of them were, but they came to watch.
Yeah.
My dad was the commentator, kind of announced everyone. So that's kind of where it
It was
started.
awesome.
It was fun. And we're like, oh, we should do this in a bar. And then we just have tried to make it better ever since. But
I think he's, you know, kind of on the leading edge. I almost feel like other people are already copying him on what he's doing, you know, and it's just great for the sport. I mean, I was just thinking about it on the way over here. Just, you know, a lot of people think it's about arm wrestling, but it's like it's about family and friends. And you go to a tournament somewhere and it's like they'll give you the shirt off their back, a place to stay. You know, people need the traveling and stuff, and meeting people is just amazing, and it's only gonna get better.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's awesome. That's why I loved arm wrestling, is just the people you met. And, you know, I would have never been to Japan or Belgium or, you know, over to California 5, 10 different times for matches, you know, if it wasn't for arm wrestling. So I think it's just the coolest thing in the world. And you can't blame nobody but yourself. You know, it's, you know, I was gonna say, you know, it's a real man sport, but it's not a real man sport because there's a lot of great women in it. I think it's a real hardy person sport.
Yeah.
You know, that's
a good way to put it.
and he's just bringing it. I think he's doing a lot for the sport. And it's a, you know, but it's scary too. You don't know how, you know, that's a stage for me. And it's scary.
Yeah,
It
him and
is.
Logan are
I
both
get I
nervous.
get pretty stressed, you know? He's putting this on the stage and
Great Falls really shows up for this guy and for Logan Anderson, so they're gonna have a lot of pressure from the crowd, you know, wanting them to win.
yeah, it's really rough.
I'll give you my little secret, and what I do to drown out the crowd when I walk up to stage is I take a little sniff of my smelling salts, and then that just like zones me in, and I can't see or hear anything. I can only see straight ahead, and I can't hear anything. And
Weaver does that.
I can't.
Yeah.
I don't hear nobody yelling, nothing. And I'm like, I'll watch a video after and it's like, holy cow, somebody was screaming, you know, and I don't hear a thing. It's, you know, you're kind of in the zone up there.
Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of great points, and I'm actually really excited when we do our interview with you and Robert and whoever else you wanted to have on, Josh, because I have a lot of interesting points to bring up. Because I think after the Armbender last year, a lot of the bigger promotions took a lot of things that you guys did and quietly added it to what they were doing, you know, and I think that's great. But, you know, at the same time, it would have been kind of cool for them to just like say in some regard, like, oh, hey, we saw these guys do this really cool thing. But, you know, said,
Well, I think every promotion sees what works on other promotions and tries to implement it. Like a lot of the stuff, you know, that I liked about Wall, I tried to implement in the Armbender, like the fast pace, always seeing a pin. Tried to keep our rule set a little bit tighter than Wall's. Personally, I think it is. Wall, man, they got away with some super elbow fouls, but you know, it made it fun to watch. I'm trying to get our elbow fouls a little more under control than that. But you know, I liked a lot of things on Wall. I thought it was a great show, so I've copied some off that. and other promotions have really good things that they do, and you have to see what they do right, and you try to do it or maybe improve upon it.
I like to see arm wrestling. I don't want to see a lot of reffing.
Yeah.
That to me is, I like it a little bit loose.
Yeah.
It's probably great for the technical guy, probably not so great for me, but I enjoy just to go up and arm wrestle.
Well, I personally think, and one of the reasons why I like the way the setups go, and I talk a lot to the competitors about make sure you watch and be prepared for the setup because the setups are different. But one of the reasons why I like them so much is because I think truly one of the skills and strengths in arm wrestling should be getting a favorable grip. And if you can't get comfortable and you can't should someone truly be able to beat you because they know like a couple little tricks or whatever, to get a better hand setup, or should it just be more into the competitors, I would say, lane rather than the refs making sure that things are fair? Like, I don't know. To me, it seems like you should be able
Some
to
of that
dictate.
some of that responsibility should fall.
There it is. And there is a lot of, it's not only just the hand to the way people, yeah, maybe their shoulders are square, but there's like some of them are almost going straight into a press. There's a lot of stuff to pay attention to.
There's a lot to pay attention to, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people who are new to the stage experience struggle with. So that's why one reason I was kind of glad that Tyler was able to get a super match the middle of last year to get a little bit of experience, because walking up on stage that first time, well, even after a dozen times doing it, you still get those jitters, and I'm sure it takes years for you to really feel comfortable in that setup and setting, and then just having to worry about so many different things, with the ref and everything else. And, it definitely does take a load off. Like I said, a part of the reasons why too, I like when we do our rank matches using the armbender rule set, just because, it takes some of the onus off of the ref. No one's going to say you won because the ref gave you favorable calls. You won because you pinned someone, not because you fouled out or you did X, Y, Z, So like you said, if you do lose, you only have yourself to blame because it's the back of your hand that hit the pad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One thing we eliminated from the armbender just because I don't like it. I mean, and I don't like when people use it as the professional foul. When you're about to get pinned and you elbow foul, then you get a restart.
Right.
I hate that type of foul. And it's allowed in so many like tournaments and stuff. And like, I just feel like if you're about to get pinned and I've done it myself in a tournament, but if you're going to get pinned and you lift your elbow just so you don't get pinned, just to get a restart, I don't like that.
No,
So that's definitely doesn't happen at the armbender.
that's why I really like the challenge flag, because I think a lot of times, because it is, and I totally get it. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a ref, is because I think reffing is a lose-lose situation. You'll never do it perfectly. There's too many things to watch.
It's tough. I hate the ref.
But the foul in a losing position is supposed to be a loss amongst all rule sets.
Right.
If you foul when you're like an inch from the pad, you should lose. But a lot of times they'll professional foul, and then like Josh said, you'll get a restart. But it's like, well, that's professional or not, that's still a foul, so they should just lose. And I've heard the arguments back and forth, and one person I want to have on too is Keith or Luke, because I'd like to talk about arm wrestling rules in depth one of these days once I find some time. But I just think that ultimately the people who should decide who wins or loses are the competitors, the two people going across each other in the match. Like, it's a shame, especially when you travel or you've spent money on hotels and gas and whatever, and, you lose on fouls, or you just feel like, like for whatever reason, the reffing just didn't allow you to get in the match. So I really appreciate that about the armbender, but also kind of pivoting a little bit, because again, since you have been a part of so many of the whole armbender history, Robert, I'm wondering, do you have like a favorite match that you've ever seen at the armbender so far?
Ooh. That's a good.
Oh, somebody else?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you haven't asked that one to too many people. That I remember a favorite like previous match.
Yeah, I meant to ask it to Brian, since he's also been a part of so many. But
man,
I love Brian.
He's had some good ones. Him and Dan Grosslock.
I kind of go for Brian because he's a little older, kind of. I'm way older than him, but I really love it when Brian, he just brings it out of nowhere.
Yeah, he does.
I love to watch Brian arm wrestle.
Yeah, sometimes we're like, have you been training or arm wrestling? He's like, nah, I just been working out. And then he just dominates everyone.
Yeah, because I like to see him do well. Another guy I would go for, even though I know he might lose a match, but I'd be still rooting for him.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting match on this card too, is, Brian against Dakota. I think it's going to be one of those instances, where you see that, arm wrestling math doesn't always work, so-and-so beat so-and-so, so this guy
Yeah.
should beat this guy. I think one of the things you need to beat Brian is overwhelming, like, burst or explosive power. That's the thing that if you look back to all of his losses over the last couple of years at the at Montana States or just like at practice or whatever, when he usually loses, it's because someone just quickly overwhelms him. And if you can't just super quickly like get through his sticky point that he has there at the beginning, then he kind of has a way of like slowing down and controlling the match. So that's why I think that this is actually going to be a very, very, very hard fought, like quicksand type match. And I think both Dakota and Brian can put each other into quicksand. So like I could see Brian getting like an early hit off, Dakota stopping it and then slowly working his way back, to the winning side, and then Brian working his way back because they both just have ways
Right.
of stopping, and like they're both just kind of technicians and they both kind of they're power takers and they like to control, lots of hand control and movement. And man, like I said, that was another one. It's hard to predict. Like I gave it 55-45 to Brian because I think but like it's super, super close and it really could go either way. And I just think his experience, and just having so many, matches under his belt might give him the edge there. But I think this is an exciting match. And just from what you saw from Dakota last year and what you know about Brian, Robert, like where do you see this match going?
I kinda, I guess, almost think he's kinda like me, that he needs that first right off the go. I think he needs to get him right off the start
Yeah,
real
I
fast.
agree with that. I think Brian sometimes really likes to, he does have that sticky spot that Clifton talked about, on both arms, but he really, sometimes Brian does really like to get out here, and get to his sticky spot. I think with Dakota, that might not be the best because I think Dakota's going to take full advantage of the hand in position with his shoulder, his body, and everything. If Brian lets him get, out here, even though Brian is very strong there, I think Dakota's just going to really take advantage of that position if Brian goes there. So I agree with Pedley. I think Brian needs to take the hand, control, center table, and get it on his side. And then Brian needs to be the one taking the position.
Right, I think Dakota has a hand on him. I think that Brian's gonna have to go through.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
both their hands are strong for sure, but yeah, Dakota's I remember his hand being very strong.
Yeah.
And Brian's hit is really like I definitely give Brian the edge on the hit. I think he is gonna win the hit. Earlier this year, when I tried to arm wrestle him at a lightweight, it took me until the third round to figure out just how to even like grip him to just stop his hit. And so I definitely know that there's a lot of power in there. And then looking at the Dalton match, like Dalton was able to overwhelm him from the B side, but Brian won the hit every single time. And he like 5% more, not even 5%, like 2 or 3% more power, and he would have just flash pinned Dalton all 3 rounds, because Dalton had to work from that losing side in order to come back and get those pins. So I do think that Brian's hits are very dangerous. And I
Mhm.
also think that this is a great match to see the relative levels. We'll be able to do a lot of matchmaking based off of this because Brian's level is very well known, I feel like, in Montana, and Dakota's level, especially this year with his left arm, is very well known. So I think we'll be able to, and he's had a lot of competitors on the left arm. So I think we'll be able to make a lot of, regardless of how this goes. I think it opens up a lot of doors for more matches to come.
Yeah.
But one match I also wanted to talk about, because again, it's kind of part of Armbender history now, is the first female match being on the card. I think that this is going to be a great match. And I don't know if you guys have looked at all the metrics and stuff, but people are excited about this. Like every post is getting hundreds of hits. The reels and the shorts are getting thousands of views. People are really excited about this. They've been shared dozens of times. And I think that's really, really good and exciting news, especially for being the first female card on the Armbender. And it's not just, I really wish we could have had a, Montana, female, but that's something that we're
Yeah.
definitely working
Right.
on, is making our roster deeper here in Montana when it comes to women. But, I think this is really exciting. And I don't know if you, Robert, have had too much or know too much about either of these women, but Scarlett, she's a just powerhouse out of Georgia, just monstrous strength, and she just overwhelms and just, kind of similar to you, in terms of the way that, where you pull, just kind of like straight over the top, kind of like a high
Mhm.
hook type movement. And then, like Susie, I think you're gonna be impressed. I don't know if you guys realize or have seen how tall she is
Yeah.
and how big her hand is. Like her hand is probably
Yeah.
bigger
That's
than
what
most
I've
guys'
been
hands.
hearing.
That's hard to deal with.
I
Yeah.
heard her hand is huge, and that's man, just the hand alone, it's such a psych even,
Yeah.
a huge hand just right there, it's a
Yeah.
psych. But then on the other hand, the other one's working out with Cody Wood and all the dudes, and
Yeah.
can't take nothing away from her.
She's gonna have a lot of power.
What I think it's great for is arm wrestling in general. I think it's gonna be something for the town here to see that. I think it's gonna bring a whole new level. They're gonna be psyched to see the ladies arm wrestling.
And know what they're doing, like really
Right.
I mean, they're gonna be intense. They both are champions in their own right. So they know what
Yeah.
they're doing. They're gonna bring it.
And this is
Mhm.
also going to be exciting because we do also in April have a women's matchup at the Miles City event. It's going to be Sierra Covert versus Jesse Andron. I always say her last name wrong. Andronovic, I believe is how you say it. And that's going to be a super awesome match. And so hopefully, we get to see, Sierra up on the stage one of these days. I know her schedule's tough and just
Yeah.
everything.
Tom just messaged me about that. He
Yeah.
said Sierra might not be able to do it. He was just messaging me about that. So I recommended Tanya, Leaf's girlfriend.
She's very good. She's solid. I was gonna bring
Yeah.
that up too. I saw her at Montana State and she looked good.
Yeah, that's what Leif was saying.
I got injured at that one, so I wasn't fully I didn't get to see the whole thing. I don't remember if her and Sierra got to pool. Sierra's really good. Sierra's very good.
Yeah, she's strong, super strong.
So yeah, we could have actually a cool female rivalry coming up in the state between those two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just super excited about this. And another thing that I think has been great about this year's Armbender, Josh, and I don't know if it was your intention when you were putting together the card, but there's a lot of controversy and quite a few of these matchups, and it's been driving a lot of commentary. A lot of
Crazy.
posts are getting like
Crazy.
50, 60,
Yeah.
70 comments going back and forth.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when Adam and Sanders went up, it was crazy because that Tom Stubbleline or whatever, he posted it on his YouTube channel and people just bashed the matchup. They said, did a kid make this matchup?
Yeah.
Like, it was just funny. Like, I was laughing at him. But yeah, the thing is Adam's coming up. He's going to be the heaviest he's ever been. I mean, he told us on here was 225 the other day, and Sanders has to cut down to 231. So there is an advantage just being able to eat, come carb loaded, come in as strong and as big as you can versus someone having to kind of watch it a little bit like Sanders is. So they're going to be close to the same weight. I bet you they'll be within 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And after Adam showing at WAF, man, he was in hook wars with just world level guys and just battle after battle. He won. So his war of attrition is there in the hook. We know that, And then yeah, there's so many controversial matches, like you said, but it's fun to have those underdogs because we have a lot of really close matches, as we talked about. I think we have a lot that are very close. So we're gonna have the wars, but at least one of those underdogs is probably gonna win at this
I'm sure. I
Armbender. There's,
think
like you
more
said, the
than
dark
one.
horse. There
There
could be at least one or two underdogs. And I mean, right off the top of my head, we know Adam's an underdog. Groat's an underdog. Leif is an underdog. Joe Fair's an underdog. Randy Harold's an underdog. I mean, there's 5 right there that are big. Like everyone would agree they're underdogs. And and then Nathan Johnson is really an underdog, even though he's never lost to Miles at a tournament, but Miles is just leveling up.
Yeah.
So
Miles
I mean,
is
there's
just
6
crazy.
underdogs right there, and you got to think 1 or 2 of them is going to pull it off, and it's going to be crazy when they do.
I even think that, many people just from having different conversations, could see Scarlett is an underdog
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily, again, even with a lot of these matches where people are saying underdog, I think, as someone like that, I kind of like do this, like I commentate and, I make the videos and stuff. So I think I look at things with a little bit more of an analytical eye. I don't really see it so much as an underdog thing, especially when you're talking about elite level pullers. A lot of times style matters a lot more than, hey, well, such and such has done this and such has done that. Uh, but like when you talk about two world level guys, like for instance, if you want to talk about Adam and Sandris, just if Adam gets in his lane, he can go toe to toe with pretty much anyone. Like we haven't really seen anyone blast through Adam in his lane, in a
when
hook.
he's on.
So it's like, I don't think that it really is that way. And I just think arm wrestling is also one of those things where there's certainly levels. There is, like, don't get me wrong. Like if you're,
Right.
a whole strength, like if all your fundamentals are a whole tier of strength higher than someone, they might just be able to hold you there center table. But I don't think that's the case. I think every one of these matchups, there's an opponent that does have an advantage against their opposer in some way,
Yep.
shape, or form, whether
Yep.
it's like pronation or just a better hand or way more
Yeah.
side pressure. So I think there's a way for everyone to get in. But that's one of the things that makes the Armbender great, is because we showcase regional talent versus,
World
just
level.
known names or stars or whatever, you want to label them
Exactly.
as. And so that's kind of like, that's what it's about. And it's not like you could go back to any arm bender. There's been upsets every single year. People who are
Yeah,
supposed to win
there
have
always
lost.
is at least one. Yep.
Who doesn't like an underdog?
Yeah.
Exactly. And plus, look how
There's gonna
much
be some upsets, I think.
look how much
Then there's
commentary it's
always the
driving.
deal. There's always the deal too, is you could smoke me in arm wrestling. I could smoke Josh in arm wrestling, but he smokes you in arm
Yeah,
wrestling.
that
It's
happens
just,
all the time.
it's just crazy.
We see that happen all the time.
It's just different. Every person might,
Yeah.
hey, he might have the kryptonite for that guy.
That's why
Yes.
I got to keep challenging Weston until I beat him, and then I'll never
Right,
pull him
exactly.
again ever.
Right.
Weston is one of those guys because I can usually get him in a ready go, but he crushes guys I can't hang with. It's
Yeah.
so weird. Like,
Yeah,
It is.
that's
It
crazy.
is really weird, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
yeah.
But that's just the way arm wrestling goes, and that's what makes. I feel like arm wrestling is not super predictable when you have a lot of people within like the same relative tier of performance.
Yes.
It's not super predictable. And I just had a conversation with Corey Miller about this, and kind of like the future of arm wrestling and how he's kind of going to be bringing in using the airs system to be able to leverage like betting within arm
I
wrestling.
watched that. Yeah, I watched that.
And I think that's like for the tournament bracket and for the greater arm wrestling, I definitely think that works. And I can't wait to have him on again so we can discuss that deeper. But I do think we have enough volatility. Like when you have two people, like let's say you have someone rated 1550 and 1580, there's enough volatility, and then people can progress enough or gain just a specific strength in one spot that they can flip that other guy, And I think it's also our performance day to day. What the practice just 1 week before, you could be feeling like a god and no one can touch you or move you or do anything. And then the very next week, you just get pummeled by everybody.
Yeah.
So it's,
I know. I found for myself, I need 3 or 4 weeks. If I have a super hard practice, I need 3 or 4 weeks. Like Clifton's gonna say something in the comments about that, I guarantee it. But Petley's that way too. Like a lot of us are that way. And then there's guys like Dan Grosslock. It seems like he could pull twice a week and be pretty much the same.
Right.
Like twice a week, every week.
I like the way you were talking. Oh man, I'm going right-handed. Man, that arm's feeling terrible, but the left's feeling good. Just
Yeah.
and then back the other way. It's like my left's feeling way better than my right some days, but now my right's ripped out, but it's starting to feel better than my left. It's like, what do you do?
that's, the last year has just been a yo-yo story for me in terms of my left and right, because like when I pulled Mike back in December, I injured my right wrist and it hurts. Like to this day, it hurts like crazy. But for the first time last weekend when I did the underground match against Levi, I was just like, whatever, I just want to see how it's feeling. So let me just even see. And even though it hurt so bad to even grip up, like it was just completely dominant. And I was just like, what is going on? Like it makes no sense. Like
Wow.
I haven't done anything But then my left arm that I have been using and it's been doing good, I was having troubles. So it's like it's so hard to predict your performance.
Yeah, maybe too much competing, like you even talked about that, you know? Sometimes that training blocks really help and lets your tendons and your bones heal up, you know? I don't know.
You wanna know what's crazy about arm wrestling today? It seems like it's crazy. There's way more left-handed arm wrestling these days.
There is.
Way more. Back in my day, you knew it if you went up against a natural lefty. They were, like, unbeatable. But now it seems like everybody's just as good as everybody left-handed, and it's just as much left-handed as right nowadays,
Yeah,
which is great
left-handed.
for me since my right's kinda screwed and alls I have is my left.
Yeah, no, left-handed arm wrestling is definitely getting the recognition it deserves. Like, if it kind of feels like you need both because as you progress and you get to a higher level, you can't like it's just like any sport. As you get better, the amount you can compete, especially like if you look at strength sports like strongman or powerlifting, you can't be at your best 10 times a year. You just can't do it.
Right.
So it's like you could be at your best 2 or 3 times a year. So if you actually wanna compete on a regular basis, you need to alternate, you know? Or you need to have
Right.
both be pretty good. And now that there's opportunities, like there's tournaments are starting to because of the super match format taking off so much, a lot of tournaments are offering money when they didn't before to try to attract more people. So there's opportunities to win money at tournaments now more than there was before.
Mhm.
More super matches are actually offering money, and it's been pretty rare in the past. And that's why like I always again um really say a big shout out or someone messages me and asks me about where I should aim to get a match. I always say, I'm not a promoter, but I tell them the promoters that they should talk to, and I always say Josh because I can't guarantee you'll get a match there, but if you do, I know he'll make sure you feel well taken care of and appreciated as an athlete. And I think that the effect that, the arm bender and what you're doing, as well as like people like Ian Carnegie over at Mac and stuff, it's having a ripple effect throughout arm wrestling. And now competitors who've like, if you've been to the arm bender and then you go to another promotion and they have like a cool thing and a pay per view or whatever, but everything they told you just goes out the window and you don't, a thing that was promised is there, or you get treated poorly, or they don't let you post or do whatever it is that you need to do as a competitor. It feels like you're not going to put up with it. So
Yeah.
I think that's another really great effect that the armbenders had kind of on the community as a whole. And I think like again we see more people doing it, and people have to keep up now, because if someone messages me and there's like, hey, we want you to come all the way to Florida to do X, Y, and Z, and it's just like, you want me to come to Florida? And it's just like, okay, yeah. And it's like, and they're like, and it's just, like you just get to be a part of the event. That's what it is, And, so, it's just, I have a lot of respect for the armbender, and, I know you've been a big part of it, Petley. So, I definitely want to, thank you, for being a part and sticking around.
He's helped me build the stage, the first stage we ever had. He helps haul it around. You know, obviously Johnson Madison
Built a
gave us
table
the push for
together.
that. Yeah, we built a table together.
I think we know it's all about this guy, man. The poor guy can't even arm wrestle. Like I told him, you can't be doing all this stuff and have the clarity to arm wrestle too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
you know,
tried that once and it was
I feel sorry for the guy, and he's doing all this hard work, and I
It's
mean,
too much
it
stress.
pays off
Yeah.
for him. He gets to see the fruits of his labor.
my buddies do good, you know? I enjoy that, seeing them take off, and guys like Petley, Brian Johnson, who've been in the sport forever, you know, I wanted them to have some recognition because, you know, there's so many big names out there that have it, and these guys are just humble, good, just good people, and I wanted to see them get up on that big stage, you know, and that's kind of what the armbender started as. If you look at my YouTube channel, it still says the same thing, to make known Montana's best arm wrestlers, you know.
Yep.
That's what I started with. And the way you do that is you bring in the big talent from other parts of the whole world and see how Montana stacks up, you know. You know, we have so many rising stars now, like Miles Hutton, Joe Fair, Logan Anderson, those younger guys that are new to the sport, that they are going to be on a world stage someday if they keep at it and keep at their training. I mean, they are on a world stage at the armbender. You know, we have 3 countries involved in like 13 states. But I mean, they'll be involved in, you know, even like if they want to have a shot at East versus West someday or something like that, you know, they'll be able to go anywhere.
Yeah,
because they'll
it's
be that
great.
that level. You know what I mean? They'll be able to bang with the best guys, is what I mean.
And it also, like, it gives you the ability to show, that you can put on a show and you deserve to be on these promotions, and people like you. And like I said, I just think there's so many reasons and benefits why when anyone asks, I say, if you have a relevant match, if you think you can hang with some of these guys that you're seeing are up there, then, message Josh, say who you'd like to pull. And there's no guarantees because he can only put so many people on there, but you never know. You might get a shot, and that's somewhere you should aspire to. Or at the very least, just ask like what you need to do to earn what you need to see, because I guarantee Josh would be more than happy to tell someone like, hey, if you beat, you know, a certain level of dude or this guy or something like that in your area, then I would love to have you on the show or something like that.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way that someone could qualify for the arm bender. It's hard because there's such limited super matches, right? But one idea I had was I have to talk to Tom about it, but it would help bring people into like, Tom's state tournament. Maybe if we're looking for a certain weight, like a 220 weight guy or a 176 or a 198, I could say if you place first at the state tournament that Tom's putting on, then, you get a spot on the arm bender. That would be fun because I think that would help even bring more people to that tournament. It's
Yeah.
already a big, great tournament, but I think it might even help bring more. And I'm not sure if that's something he'd be interested in, but that was one thought I had that could be really cool because I really like Tom. He's kind of he was the one that threw all the tournaments in Montana, and I learned a lot from him. And like, they're such a huge part of Montana arm wrestling. Like I was trying to figure out how I can incorporate them to, like help grow their tournaments, and then also maybe pick, all right, if you win this weight classes, we need a 198 guy. You come to Tom's tournament, win that like guys that are in Wyoming or those closer states to Billings, they could go have that opportunity.
I
But
think
yeah, I like
people
what you're
would come
saying.
from far away, if they could guarantee a spot,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, like, yeah, if you look in the comment section of some of the YouTube videos and stuff, people are asking, like, like I said, there was that guy who asked, it's like, oh, well, would I be able to, compete if, if I was on TRT, or, people are asking like how they can get in and how they can get in. And, like, again,
Yeah.
like, I just want to say, like, I know I say this almost every video, but I'm not the matchmaker. You have to message Josh. I'm just
And then
covering the event, but, um, I think anything like that would be a great boon to everyone. And I think that's one of the
Mhm.
things that we've shown here in Montana, that, we're doing things as a team. And because of that, we're growing and we're doing special things. Everyone's supporting each other. Tom, I know he'd love to be a part of anything because he loves arm wrestling and he wants to see it grow.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's so supportive. He's been supportive of me since day one, He's just I really respect that guy.
Yeah.
I really do.
And he's one of my favorite refs because even though I know, like, I won't necessarily be able to get away with anything tricky, I know my opponent won't either.
They kinda know your secrets
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know
yeah.
him and Keith, they're honest guys, they really are, and
Yeah.
I've never seen them favor anyone, they try to get everything as fair. They do the best job they always can, and, I think they're both just stellar
Like
people.
anywhere, it's tough to be a ref.
Yeah.
There's always somebody in the cheap seats.
The little benders, or Lil Benders, as Nicholas Abel calls them. I like that name. He's like, "You should use that name." I wanna do a Lil Bender too, and I wanna keep those going because I think, the live stream, like, that can get better and better on those, and we can get more and more exciting matches, rank matches. Maybe that's a way we let people qualify for the Montana Arm Bender because, like you said, I do wanna make it to where people are able to kinda qualify for it, you know what I mean? But I look at personally at this is just right now, my mind can change on some of this stuff, but I look at arm wrestling super matches as a lot like MMA fighting. So MMA, you don't have to like they look at who's doing the best and who's beat who. That's kind of how arm wrestling is. You look who's exciting, who's doing the best, who's beating who. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I've picked guys. And then also I talk to a lot of people, and if they work out a fair deal, and I'll bring them in, Some people want more than others to come, and like if I put too much into one person, then everybody else doesn't
Suffers.
get as
Yeah.
much. You know what I mean? So I try really hard to give people what seems like a reasonable, fair amount to come. Oh, and then some people mostly come on their own dime. I'd love to be able to pay everything for everyone, but we're still not quite at that point. We're getting closer and closer. Like, especially with like a newer person coming in that really wants to be on the show. I'm like, hey, you win, you show something, you like tear it up, you get the crowd excited, and then next year we bring you in a better opponent and I pay for more of your stuff, like for someone new coming in. But like I said, I'd love to pay for every little thing for everyone, but it's just not feasible. But the Montana Armbender, I would say, still gives away more cash than almost any events you can think of. Like, I mean, all people got to do is go back and watch some of the cash that was on the table for last year's. Logan had 3,000 in cash on the table for his match. Sandris Shedis and RVJ had 3,500 on the table for their match. You know what I mean? Like, and that's with that's on top of anything they got for showing up or arrival, plane tickets, whatever. So
I think another way is if you want to get your name out there, find out when our practices are and start coming to some practices or some of the local tournaments. And, he's going to see that. And you put on a show, your name might just automatically get put in.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a good way for us to all grow together, because one of the easiest ways to get seen for anyone out there, and I'll definitely make sure to clip this out, but one of the best ways to get seen, and if you want to be a part of the Armbender, is to come to a Montana tournament and beat someone who's had success at the Armbender.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a good point.
Or
Or a practice or a little bender.
Or a little bender. If you see that we're gonna have one, because Josh usually posts up, a couple weeks before saying like, hey, I want to do this, who would be interested in coming. You see that post, then show that you're willing to travel and put in that effort, come up, get yourself seen, get yourself shown, and if you do well, then you might just see yourself on that card, and if you win, you could end up in the pay-per-view portion, and that's that's another feather to put in your hat. That's something to add to your resume, as an arm wrestler. I've been part of a pay-per-view event. That's probably something that maybe 100 arm wrestlers on the planet can say. So that's a huge accomplishment. And but just like anything worthwhile, you have to earn it. You can't just say you want it.
It is, it's amazing. He's getting everybody's names out there, and you just, man, now I'll see myself pop up crazy places like, whoa, how did that get there? And it's kind of scary, but it's cool.
Yeah, that Joe Fair, the match I posted on YouTube of him and Auden Larrett has like 100,000 views or something crazy. Wow. And Joe's like, of course it's the one I lost. Of course I lost in that, but Auden, he's doing pretty good, man. He's good at the setup.
One of the cool things about Joe too is he's got a cool name that's easy to remember. So
right,
yeah. When you see that on a thumbnail,
fun
it looks
matches
good.
with him.
Yeah. Petley and him went back and forth.
Great matches, but I have a feeling he's hitting another level. It's hard to hit another level when you're my age.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. Now that you're training more, you might just find a new level that you've never been.
Next year, if I could get healthy, and I'm going to try to get down to maybe the 220 mark. And there's a lot of bad boys in that weight class.
Every weight class seems to have somebody.
But I'll be healthier at least, and that's working out great for me.
That's why I tell people.
Arm wrestling is awesome in that way for like people getting older. Like it really gives you a reason to work out, stay in shape.
Right.
Look at Jim Wright. That guy he's always working out. I'm amazed how strong Jim is.
Great fella.
For his age. Like he's just incredible. And he is a great person. I love
look
Jim.
Up to, look back and look at a young Brian. That guy was a beast. I wish he could get back to there, but that's what's so great about arm wrestling now. There's so many people to train with. Back in our day, like Brian, he quit arm wrestling. There was nobody to train with.
Luke Cody said the
practice.
same thing.
It's just so much better nowadays. Man, it's an amazing sport.
Now we're growing and growing. Like Great Falls even has 2 teams now.
Yeah.
You know what? Come to Great Falls. Bring your family. Go up the glacier. Have a good time while you're here, You might even hook up with some great people and be the friends for life. And they, take you to some awesome spots while you're here. Don't just come for a day. Come for maybe a lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, before you ask us our final questions, I want to say thank you to Joel Bruland and Holly. They've both just been amazing at always supporting this event, always helping me out, always getting back to me. Like they gave us all the lumber for the stage
Oh,
on top
nice.
of, and they store it. That's huge. Anyone that knows how hard it is to store something, they store it every year for us
Inside.
all year. So thanks to Joel and Holly for that. Like, they just do so much. Like since day one, the stage, they've sponsored us every single event. They've just been behind the armbender, you know. They're one of our core sponsors that have just always been there.
And I work there and I love my job, and a lot of it's because of those two.
Whenever I go and talk to Holly, she's always talking you up too.
Yeah, they're awesome people. They're amazing.
Everybody there does. Yeah, they all love Petley over there. Anyway, I wanted to say that before we were final questions.
Oh no, the crowd definitely gets behind Petley too. They love Petley up in Great Falls.
Yeah, it was so
Our crowd is known.
People defend you in the comments a lot.
It was so rough last year. So
Yeah.
terrible.
Nathan's such a good guy. So I was happy to see him win and get the cash, but my heart was also broke for Petley.
Yeah.
It's like, guys leaving with all my money.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. Again, it's kind of motivating because, like, you know, you've been training harder now this year, so I'm sure it's made you even better.
He's like, I don't want to go up in front of everyone.
Yeah, I have to say, Tyler scares me. Depends on what he does.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things he can do, and
he can be strong.
I could have some real big problems.
Petley's just got to keep him out of his power. It's going to be the whole game.
You never know. This might be the most even match there is there.
Yeah, you never know. It could be really good. I think it is going to be good. So
I don't want it to be an even match.
Yeah, I know that feeling. But no, yeah, that was great. And I think everyone definitely got to know a lot about the armbender and get to know you even better, Robert, because again, while you're super well known within Great Falls and here in Montana, you know, like I said, we have a lot of people every time we post something about you. You know, the people come into the comments from Great Falls that I've never seen before just to say that you're going to win or you're going to crush somebody. So it's really awesome to see that. And I know Tyler's not here, but I just wanted to know, did you have like any closing comments or any statements you'd like to make to Tyler or anyone watching?
Just, you know, hope for the best for Tyler. You know, I love to see him win. I hate to see him lose. He's a great kid. He's a wild man, cool dude. You know, I just hope I have his number. You know, I hate to say that, but I hope I have the number for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, Johnson Madison, they've been good. They're a great place. Johnson Madison Lumber.
Which match are you most looking forward to? Besides yours, if you had to pick one or two.
Probably, well, there's just so many. I mean, I like the Brian Johnson one.
Yep.
I love Ben Brooks, man. I want him to do well. I just wish he would have never hurt his arm. He's such an amazing pooler.
Yeah.
You know, down in Lewistown seems like by himself.
This is his comeback match.
Yeah.
We'll see if the hydraulic press is going to try to put a stop to it.
That's a scary opponent.
Fella.
He is. He's looking strong.
You know, he used to just go through us round robin,
Ben,
you know, 3 times in a row, that guy.
It's sad because people still, I feel like, you know, the general arm wrestling public, you know, beyond our region, don't know how good Ben was. Like, he was impressed.
I'm just hoping that hopefully he's getting back there. I'm all for that guy.
And he's always willing to help ref. Like, he loves arm wrestling. He's always willing to help. Always has that big smile.
Yeah. Super good fellow. So that's, you know, and the ladies, that's going to be amazing.
And he's cornering the torque wrench.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Logan. Yeah. There's just so many.
Him and Dan Grosslock and Joe Fair gonna try to.
He's gonna need a good
Logan,
corner.
I might have to pull the over the top thing and smack him around a little bit and run to get him into it.
Get mad.
Yeah, Logan, he needs a little. I might get a little cattle prod or something. Once he gets aggressive, he's just unbelievable.
He was hitting hard and being aggressive right off the bat at the little bender, so it gives me good hope.
Yeah.
And like I said, I predicted in my predictions that he was going to win. I think he's got the tools, and I think he's strong enough to do it.
Right.
I'm glad he had that match with Chuck.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone is going to mess with you in the match or the setup as much as Chuck. So he learned a lot from that. And we have done nothing but drill in his head. Do not give anything in the setup. You know, we've worked with him and all that on that. So, you know, as long as he goes up there and he is does not give anything in the setup and he's aggressive, I think he's going to do well. Sill's a force, though. He's ranked top 10 in the Through the Hook rankings.
And
Everything's
Sill
amazing match. They're all amazing.
Yeah, the scary thing about Sill is that he has a truly like elite level hand. So that's that for the most people, like as good as Chuck's hand is, Jordan's hand is even better. So
and it all depends, like, what Jordan shows up, because everybody knows he's better on some days than others. Everybody says that. Tim Lewis, everybody's. I mean, I think last year at the Armbender, he showed up super strong.
Very strong, yeah.
He looked just dominant against Leif and Joe.
Yeah. Like he said, if I had his forearm, I wouldn't need mine blown up with the pitcher.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know, yeah.
Forearm is
you go look at it. He looks like an AI photo, really.
Yeah,
just naturally.
That's another match though I want to see. I want to see like with how much better Leif's gotten this year. I would love to see Jordan and Leif again.
I know that. I've thought about that too. That would be fun.
I think those guys have been practicing hard up on the high line.
Yeah.
Miles,
the nice thing is they're all big dudes and they're all big, strong hands. Oh, Logan, man, we got to get you up there with those bigger dudes.
Actually, surprisingly, I think that's one of the things that threw me off with Levi. Levi's hand is the same size as mine. And I never go against anyone who has like everyone's hand is big. The only other person that that I arm wrestle consistently that has my size of hand is Dan Grosselak, and then I struggle sometimes with him because like his hand feels uncomfortable because I'm comfortable holding on to like a big old mitt, and I'm like, okay, this feels good and this comfortable. So now I grab, I'm like, wow, I have so much wrap and coverage, and I almost get myself into trouble because like I use too much finger. Yeah.
Levi looked strong in that match. You think he was the strongest he's ever been there? He looked really good, like center table. You always have that sticky spot at the end, but
yeah, it took me that third round. I kind of finally figured out how I wanted to grab a hold of him, but it was a little too late. That's a weird match because I felt very dominant in the setup. Like I felt like I could manipulate his hand however I wanted.
Wow.
But his back pressure was so good that I could not supinate at all, or I couldn't come. He got into my hand faster than I can come around the back. And then the third round, I went outside just to, try to wear him down or whatever, but it was just too little too late. It was his back pressure.
Yeah, I saw that.
His back pressure was just right at the level it needed to be to where I couldn't respond or do anything that I needed to do. But in every other way, I felt like my hand was stronger. I felt like once we did stop, I felt like I had more pronation because his wrist broke back when I did pull him outside into the King's move. And it's just, but that what's why back pressure is kind of like the deadlift of arm wrestling. It's really when someone has enough back pressure just to pull you across the pad. It's hard to do anything, especially when you're kind of like us, Josh, when you're a little bit shorter and you really need that pad. You need to get to the back of the pad so that way you get all your leverage and all your power to put down.
Yeah.
And so getting stretched out and I'm already kind of over the table. Yeah, Levi was impressive.
That's a tough match. I mean, he's very strong.
Yeah.
That's a tough match. He could be ranked higher than he is right now. I'm sure he's going to try to take on some of those tougher guys up ahead of him.
Yeah, I think he's probably right behind Miles in terms of like where I felt people on the list.
Him and Dalton Waller could be interesting left.
It could be. Dalton has so much rotation that I could see him. But one thing that I worry about is it might just go the same as me, just because that initial hit or power. If Dalton can't get that rotation in time, then he might have the same problem where he just can't even display what he has.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I think a lot of us in Billings, we have troubles with. And we have to do a lot of training outside of table practice to control back pressure because all of us want to go right into the hook. So we go right into each other's power. So that's
all we used to do when we started. Remember Brian Johnson? All we did was straight to the hook. And I actually feel like the Billings guys, your guys' team was better at top rolling and stuff because you guys, I feel like, practice that. We always, it just seems like boom with Brian every time. Whereas I've just the last year and a half, I've really started to work this because I want to be stronger. Like you said, I surprised you with that top roll because I'm trying to get that because I like the hook, but I want to have another option.
Yeah, it's nice to have more than one option. And, definitely some kind of, because for me, I was thinking like, okay, well, if I can't hook, then maybe I'll try pressing. But I'm finding that like if I can't hook someone, then usually getting them somewhere where I can press them into a good spot, is probably not going to happen either. So that's why I've been working more on my King's move, my outside, from a defensive option, without over committing and going down, like controlling it more from this angle than like that angle, just so that way I have like an outside option, because I don't know, the way my leverages are, I just don't think like an offensive top roll is in my cards. But yeah, like a defensive outside top roll definitely could be there. And I do think that you're starting to see a lot of people in Montana evolving, and they're getting their B move isn't just a desperation move anymore. Like it's good now, so that they have multiple, you have to, because you have, like Josh mentioned earlier, rising stars like Miles that can pull anywhere. And
Right.
if you can't,
So technical.
yeah, if you can't contend with them, then,
Right.
that was kind of my thing too. I said, if I beat Levi convincingly, then I want to challenge Miles, because, Levi's like his walk around's 250, so he had to cut like 8 or 10 pounds for our match. So I was like, that's, and I know Miles is good, but that was kind of like my little internal goal, so I definitely have to get back to the drawing board on that. But I just love how Montana arm wrestling is growing. And I think, again, that a lot of that's because of you guys and starting the arm bender and pushing people and bringing in all these people and motivating everyone, because Joe's another guy, he can pull inside or outside.
Big
Ben.
hand, short form. Yep.
Yeah.
I love all these little guys are just pulling all the big guys. That's so amazing, and that's gonna be so good for them down the line.
Yep. You're gonna, Andrew, I'm telling you, you're gonna be
That's
real good.
amazing.
You're gonna be good soon, Andrew, because you'll take any match and you pull a lot of tough guys. Seriously, that eventually is gonna pay dividends for you. You're kind of getting beat up, but you're gonna get really good from that. I'm telling you. As Jake Houston said, that he used to just go to tournament after tournament after tournament and get slaughtered. Now look how good he is, I think you're on that trajectory because you're always trying to take on someone super tough, and then you train and go try to make yourself better from the match. And that's kind of the approach I've taken too. Like you, I'm always down to face someone tougher than me, just because it really shows you exactly where you need to get better.
Well, then the win matters too. Like if I beat, someone I'm supposed to beat, well,
I know what you're saying. Yeah. How much more fun is it to beat someone tough,
exactly.
That's why I faced Kevin Roy at that arm bender, 2 arm benders ago, because I really respected him and he's really strong. And like, I was like, I got to beat this guy. And, I didn't do it, but it would have been super cool too.
That's why it felt so good, in December. And I know it wasn't like I was afraid to have the left arm super match because, my left arm got injured at Montana State. So I just pulled in the tournament, but it felt so good to get that win on Mike, because
I saw
according
that.
to everyone,
Yep.
Mike was supposed to just rip right through me. They're like, oh, Mike, he's just going to blast right through you because of how he beat Ryan Boussier earlier.
Yeah, he's fast.
And, so that felt great. That felt amazing. And that mattered, that like I always want to take on opponents that excite me and make it to where if I take my foot off the pedal in training, then I'm going to lose. So,
Yeah.
like I have to train and get better in order to beat people.
Yep.
That's why, like, sometimes people will offer me messages and I like, people think I say no, or I don't say no, but I do say no. I say no to matches. I just don't think, if it's only like a side grade, or if it's not something that like if I don't hear that match, I instantly feel a little bit scared, or like, oh shit, I might lose, then
Yeah.
I don't take it, because then I know
That's
I'll be
funny.
lazy.
Right.
You don't care about the win-loss record. You just care about getting better.
If once I get good, then I'll care about the win-loss. Once I get to like
Yeah.
my 6, 7, 8 year mark, but
Yeah.
September this year will be my 4-year mark. So it's all still part of the learning process. I consider myself breaking into that intermediate phase. So, I think, yeah, it's just all part of the game, and it's fun to be a part of these cool big promotions. And so I'm not going to say
Yep.
no to being part of them. I want to pull someone that's going to make it worthwhile, because it does.
Yeah.
A lot
Right.
goes into arm wrestling, it hurts. The training hurts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you travel, so it costs money. So you're putting a lot into it. And so to not get anything out, like if I just go in and just 3-0
Yes.
someone and it's not even any, like, I don't get anything out of that, and
Yeah.
hopefully I do, like if it's a good opponent, but
Yeah.
ideally I
Yeah.
want it to be, like I said, I want it to be against someone I'm not supposed to beat.
Yep. Well, you've been doing good. I've been watching like your improvements, and I felt like I couldn't even touch you last time we pulled. Like at state, I felt like I was right there. You know, we were close, and then last time we pulled, I felt like I couldn't move you too much.
Yeah, I think that's mostly just the weight.
Yeah, well, you still felt strong though, man. You were strong,
Yeah, no,
but
I appreciate that, but yeah, it's gaining the weight for me, my body just doesn't work at that light weight. It just didn't work.
Right.
yeah,
Everything like I went back and watched videos from July and stuff, and like my arms looked so small and everything just looked like I was just like it felt so
yeah,
weird seeing myself like that, and I'm like, I'm glad that I'm back up in weight, but
yeah.
yeah, no, I
Well,
guarantee I would recommend trying that too, you know, maybe just gaining 10, 15, 20, or 40 pounds might
I've
help.
already done it. I don't like it. I'm like about 15, 20 pounds heavier than normal right now. I want to go back down.
Yeah.
I feel strong, but I feel just better, a little bit lighter. I like to walk around about 178, and right now I'm like 190. It's crazy.
Wow.
So
These days, you can't even go down in weight classes because everybody's so good in the weight class below you, even,
you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
get away from no one.
Yeah.
There's
So
always someone
the
better.
best bet is go where you feel the healthiest, is I think your best bet.
You start feeling good at arm wrestling, and then a 150-pound guy smokes you, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, that guy from Canada come down.
Oh, Vitaly, Vitaly,
Unbelievable.
whatever.
Or
But
like Roman Gromov or one of those
Unbelievable.
guys. Yeah.
yeah.
Another phenom.
Well, Andrew, I wanted to say thanks again for doing
Yeah.
these interviews, man.
Absolutely.
I've
Thank
watched
you.
them. They've been awesome, huh?
I was
Interviews.
scared. I was scared. I have to admit, I was scared.
He doesn't like talking in front of the camera.
Yeah, we keep it
Yeah.
fun.
The only two we didn't get on this year were Sill and Weaver. So next year they're gonna have an interview together to start off all these interviews.
That's a good
Sill and
idea.
Weaver.
That's a good
Yeah, it'd be
idea.
like are the two we didn't get last year.
I
But
think Weaver would be a great interview.
oh yeah, him and Sill would both be fun.
Yeah, great.
But
Especially
anyway,
because we
thank
keep
you.
it cool. We keep it light. We keep it
Yeah,
fun.
it's super easy. It's fun.
But yeah,
And you do a great job, Andrew. You really do. And you got all of them done, which is super sweet. Like, it's just amazing. We got them all done before the arm bender. So I'm excited. I can't tell you guys how excited I am for this arm bender. It is going to be good. I can, we've done everything we can to make it better this year. So I think a lot of that's going to pay off on the 14th and people are going to see it. So
You know what? I've been learning from these. I've watched a couple, and I'm telling you, I've changed up how I'm going into this tournament because of watching one of these interviews.
oh, yeah.
It's
that's
There's some
awesome to
good
hear.
stuff on these interviews.
great stuff. It's like I started thinking, it's like, yeah, that happens to me. Maybe I should change that. I think it's going to help.
He likes Cody Wood's take on creatine. And there's different
Because
opinions
like you
on
guys
that.
were saying, I was losing my hand. I'm only good for a couple matches. Well, I can remember when I was first starting out, the first Billy's tournament, I wrestled 10 guys. And I didn't feel bad at all. And then next thing you know, I'm realizing, I'm good for 3 matches.
Some people see benefits from it, some don't. Like Clifton, I know, said takes it every day. I take it every day. I know Brian Johnson does.
I just stopped 2
it's
weeks
just a
before
supplement.
competing.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. That's
Interesting.
what I'm going to do.
I don't know that I've ever. I mean, I do blow up, so maybe I try not and see if I don't
It
blow up. I
definitely
don't
makes
know.
me stronger, and it definitely makes my elbows feel better for training.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do stop just to be safe. I do stop 2 weeks
Interesting.
before. And I do notice that like that last practice when it's already been out for a week already, that I already have way more endurance. So I do think it does
Interesting.
affect things. I think there's ways around it. Like I've mentioned to people, you can take no salt, which is basically potassium, to help to drive the water into the muscles. That way it's not sitting outside and making you get all tight and cramped up. So that's one way to do it. You can megadose taurine, 4 to 6 grams. That helps with transporting water around your body so it gets out of your arm faster. And I'm currently reviewing a product I'm going to do a video on here soon, so I won't go too much into it, but it's been working really well. And I think it can help a lot of people. But yeah, no, I wanted to thank you guys for coming on. I think that's a great way to end the show, because nothing makes me feel better about doing all this than hearing that it's helped someone in some way or changed something that they've been doing in a positive way.
They've been great. They're fun to listen to.
Yeah, I really appreciate
Opened
that.
my eyes.
And I do want to shout out the sponsor one more time, Johnson Madison Lumber. You guys are awesome for sponsoring this. It's a lot of work.
Thank you.
And not very many people put their money where their mouth is. So again, we appreciate that. And if you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe, and we will catch you guys next time.
Thank you.